Hey, are you considering moving to another country? If so, I assume that you watch some YouTube bloggers who already live there and they talk about life in that country. Am I right? At least that's what I did when I decided to move. And in this video, I'll explain to you why you can't completely trust all those reviews. I became an immigrant over 2 years ago when I moved to the UK. Before that, I watched numerous videos on YouTube to prepare myself for life in this country. And I still watch them, but often I disagree with them now. So from my personal experience, I can tell you, don't blindly trust all the reviews about the country you want to live in. And let me explain you why. First of all, during these 2 years that I already lived here, I met many immigrants who also live here. They are from different countries and all of them share their stories about their experience and life in this country. Not always on YouTube, but with their friends, their relatives, and we believe them because we know them. All the stories are different because we are different. Some of them are positive, some negative, and all the stories are true, but only for that particular person. Often, when I listen to them, I want to tell them that this is not how life is in general in this country. It's only your personal story. Stop presenting it like everybody lives here the same way. We are all different and have different characters. Every person speaks from their personal unique experience and background. But also you have to remember that all people are in different circumstances. What can be true for one person is completely different for another. Here's just one example. A person who I know living up north in the UK claiming it's always cold and rainy here, while I live in the south where it's usually warmer and less rainy. Our experience differ sharing our stories. If you rely on just one perspective without comparing it with others, you might be misled. Do you know what I mean? Here's another example. One woman lives in a really dangerous neighborhood, and her stories about the UK are completely different from England that I know, but she describes it not as life in that particular neighborhood, but as general life in the UK. After listening to her, I doubt you would decide to move here. From my experience, I have learned that every city and every part of a country is different. Even neighborhoods within one city vary, affecting life there differently. When you watch videos about life in a particular country or city, it doesn't guarantee the same experience for you. I haven't been to all parts of the UK yet, but during these 2 years that I've been here, I changed a few places in different counties. A county is like a region similar to a state in the US or province in Canada. It's just for your understanding. So what I mean that I saw how people live in different regions and how every region differ from each other. In some parts of the country, people are friendlier than in others. For example, when I lived in Cornwall, I knew 1/3 of all of my neighbors and many people in general. But when I moved closer to London, where I live now, I knew only 3 neighbors from the whole street, and others do not always even say hello, not just to me, but to each other. They prefer to pretend that they don't see other people. So the place where you live and people around you affects your impression of the country. Personal circumstances also play a significant role. People move to countries through various means, legal and otherwise, and their circumstances differ. Did they move alone or with family? Do they have children? Did they come with a job offer or are they searching for one? What are their salary and job type? All of these influence their perception of life in this country. For instance, someone earning a minimum salary will have different experience from an IT professional or a doctor because they usually earn more. It's normal for immigrants' views on life to vary. I encourage you to consider multiple perspectives from different parts of the country for a broader picture. Another thing that will impact you is your language level. In my case, it's English, because this impacts what kind of job you can do here. Let me explain. Say if your job is to communicate with people a lot, your English has to be high. Otherwise, you'll be forced to look for a low-income job where you don't have to talk to people. And this will influence your view of a country. I know many people who say it's really hard to find a job here, and that's far away from the truth. But as I said, everyone speaks from their personal experience, and the job that they have affects their opinion. Again, I know many people who aren't happy with their job and their salary, and they will tell you that life here in the UK is crap because they feel miserable, but that's not always true. There are another 2 points related to this subject. One of them is the quality of a job. Here's what I mean. If this is a low-income job where people don't have to have any special knowledge or skills, it means that almost all of the employees will be rather students who are looking for additional income job, or often uneducated people with no ambitions, who don't want to develop and become better. And they usually try to find someone in a worse position than them so they can feel better about themselves. They can look down on you or even ignore you to show their advantage over you. These are the people and places where you experience racism the most. Please don't get me wrong, I have nothing against such jobs, and I work in similar conditions for almost a year till I found a proper job. But everyone can decide what they want. Not all the people are the same, and some of my friends are complaining that they can't stand this anymore. They can't stand and work in such an environment, and the conditions in such job won't be great. So the people who stuck in such circumstances won't tell you anything good or excited about life here. Another point is salary. When people earn just minimum wage, they can't afford renting something good, and they have to rent a room in a flat with other people or rent something cheap in awful conditions in bad neighborhood. Of course, this affects their view on things here. The language also affects social life. Are the people able to communicate with other people, or are they on their own? This influences their impression of a country. Lastly, attitude matters. Personally, I think this is the most important aspect. Our outlook on life affects our perceptions and experiences. Some of the people I know view life negatively, always finding some faults and feeling entitled. They always expect things from others, and they are jealous if they don't have something that other people have. Their stories reflect their perspectives, but it doesn't mean everything is as they see it. But negative people will always find something bad in every situation, and they always attract negative people and even more negative situations. So their life became more and more miserable. And what kind of stories they can share with you? Of course, it wouldn't be something great or pleasant, but if you are not such a person, everything could be completely different in your case, even if you live in the same city, same neighborhood, and work at the same job. I hope that you understood my main point, that you can't blindly trust all of the reviews about the country you want to live in. All people are different and have different circumstances, different views, different expectations, different beliefs. Some people want to move in and live in a particular country, and some would say that this is not for them. Even some native citizens in every country say that it's time to move somewhere else. So if you are dreaming of living in another country, pursue your goal, but research thoroughly to be prepared. If you watch this video, first of all, I'm really grateful for this, because this is my first video on YouTube. And while I can't ask you to subscribe, as it's my first video, your support would be much appreciated. I have more to share about life in the UK as an immigrant and some advice from my personal experience. Thank you for watching.